In our previous videos, we learned about built-in exceptions in Java and how to handle them. But what if you need an exception that is specific to your application? Something Java does not provide by default. That's exactly what we are learning today. It is custom exception in Java. Java provides a rich set of built-in exceptions that cover most common error scenarios. But every application has its own specific business logic, and sometimes the built-in exceptions just do not describe the problem clearly enough. Let me give you a real-life example. Imagine you are building a banking application. A user tries to withdraw more money than their account balance. Java has no built-in insufficient funds exception, something like this. Insufficient funds exception. But that is the exact error you want to communicate. Or imagine a student registration system. A student tries to register with an invalid student ID, and there is no built-in exception class for that, something like invalid ID student exception. But custom exceptions let you create your own meaningful exception types, making your error handling more specific, more descriptive, and more professional. And creating a custom exception in Java is simple. You just create a class that extends exception, or one of its subclasses or child classes. For example, let's go to our com.basic package, create a new class with any name that you want, but it should be more readable and understandable. For example, I write my exception. As I say, the custom class should extend its parent class, which is exception. And that is all you need for a basic custom exception. That is it. My exception is now a fully valid exception class that you can throw and catch just like any built-in exception. But a custom exception with no message is not very useful, right? Let's make it more meaningful by adding a constructor that accepts a custom message. How we can create a constructor access modifier, the name of the class, I copy it, paste it, parentheses, and curly braces. Inside the parentheses, we can write our parameter to make the constructor parameterized, for example, message. You can also use the keyword super and add the parameter here. And it passes the message to exception class constructor. I mean, the super message in here passes our custom message to the exception class, which stores it internally. So you can then retrieve it using getMessage method, exactly like built-in exception that we used to do that. Now you can also add additional properties and methods to your custom exception class, just like any other classes. But now let's see a complete example. First, creating, throwing, and catching a custom exception. Let's go back to our student class. And in here, let's write each block separately, try and then catch block. Inside try blocks, if you can remember the syntax, foo, keyword, new, and then the name of our exception class. What is the name of our exception class? My exception. I copy it, paste it here, parentheses, and here we write our custom message. For example, we can write something meaningful like this is a custom exception and semicolon. In the catch block, inside the parentheses, we write the name of the exception. For example, exception class, which is exception, my exception, and then E, which contains the error message, and then the message that we want to print, like custom exception caught. after our catch block, we can see if the program runs with it any problems. If we run the program, yeah, custom exception caught. And if we want to print the message as well, we can use like in here class a.getMessage method. I ran this one, and now we can also see this is a custom exception as a message which appears here. So with through keyword here, we threw my exception with our custom message using this keyword and this message. And Java immediately stops execution and looks for a matching catch block. And the catch my exception in here catches it, and we use e.getMessage method to retrieve and print our custom message which is in here. And the program continues normally after the catch. Let's see this example with a more practical real-life example. Let me remove my exception class to avoid any confusion. We just understood the syntax. Now let me remove this part to make our code clean and readable. So let's create a class for validating age. So I go back to our package, create a new class. As it is for the validating age, so for the exception class, I name something like invalid age exception, something meaningful. And as I say, this class should extend the exception class, which is the parent class, and then we can create a constructor. This time I try to write a little bit faster, and then parentheses and curly braces. Inside the parentheses, I write our parameter, then the super keyword, message, the parameter, which is going to go to the parent class, which is exception. And then now let's go back to our student class. In here, imagine we have a variable named age equal something like 5. And then now say we want to write a try catch block, then catch block. Actually, I want to in here print when my user, for example, at his or her age, I want to say his or her age be printed as valid or valid age. Be printed concatenation age, whatever the user at. For example, the user at age 5, 10, 16, 17, 18, 20, whatever he or she adds. But now imagine what if the user at a number like minus 5, minus 3, minus 20, and it is a problem, right? Because we do not have a negative age. So let's write it through condition here. If age is less than 0, how we can write the structure for if statement, parentheses and then curly braces. Inside the curly braces, we write the through keyword, through new, and then the name of our exception class. What is the name of our exception class? Invalid age. And the message that we want to pass. What we want to show with someone at a negative age, we say age cannot be negative. And we also want to show the numbers or the age they provided. So the provided age is also, it's optional, you can add it or not, whatever age they have added as a data. So now let's complete the catch block. Inside the parentheses, we write the name of the exception class, which is invalid age exception, then E, which contains the actual error that we want to be shown by age cannot be negative. And when the exception is caught, I want this message be shown invalid age error. And to show the actual message in here, age cannot be negative, I can use the .getMessage method in here. So now our age is 5. Let's run the program. We don't have any exception here, valid age is 5. What if the user add by mistake or by intention -5? Now let's see what will happen and what should be shown. Invalid age error, it is the catch block. Age cannot be negative from the through section, and also the provided age is -5. So this is much more meaningful than a generic arithmetic exception. The error message is specific, descriptive, and tells us exactly what went wrong, right? So that is the custom exceptions in Java. If you enjoy watching this video, make sure to like and subscribe the channel so you never miss a video. See you in the next one.